This is Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles from Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Retirement isn't just about saving, it's about having a strategy that helps you navigate market ups and downs, combat inflation, and secure the future you deserve. That's why Financially Fit Radio is here to tackle your biggest financial concerns, share actionable strategies, and help you move toward your retirement goals with confidence. And now, here's Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles.
Welcome back to another episode of Financially Fit Radio. I'm Cory Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. If you have any questions or concerns about what we talk about today, feel free to give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always visit our website at safeharboroh.com. And while you're on our website, feel free to click on that radio page. You can listen to today's show. You can also subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Spotify. Also, feel free to watch today's show on our YouTube channel. Just type in Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. You can click right on that radio playlist, listen to today's show. Also, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll be kept up to date with a lot of our short videos. We put about 4 or 5 videos out a week about different types of financial topics. You know, we're here to help and guide you to make sure that you have the best retirement that you possibly can. And just remember, you can always schedule a complimentary no obligation meeting with us today in order to put together a financial plan, which kind of leads us in today's topic. We're going to talk about why a financial plan is important. And I think that we have some good insights on that. We'll kind of go also through our process when you do come in and meet with us on what that actually looks like for you as well. So again, feel free to give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always give us a visit our website at safeharboroh.com. Before I get into that, let me introduce to you my co-host this week and every week, and that's Tony Shore.
All right, Cory, thanks for having me on the show. And you know what? I am so excited. One reason, my Timberwolves, I'm a big Timberwolves fan. The Minnesota basketball team, and they are doing really well. They're going into the Western Conference Finals. So
2 years in a row.
Yeah, we'll see. I think this year we can go further than we ever have.
Speaking about the NBA, Tony, there's a good chance that you have really 4 teams in the conference finals that haven't been there for years.
Yeah, years.
We'll see if the Knicks, handle the Celtics, but you have OKC and, Denver just won it a couple years ago. But historically, Denver really has not, what I would say, been a
powerhouse team.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you got, OKC in Minnesota, and you got the Knicks. Knicks haven't won anything since the 70s.
Yeah, the Knicks. I know. Did I read that? Are the Knicks involved in basketball again?
Yeah, wow. I know.
Yeah.
Mike Lou's awful happy.
Yeah, we've had, and the Timberwolves, yeah, well, sure. And the Timberwolves have had such a bad team for so long that this year's been a fantastic year. It got me back into basketball. I don't watch basketball that much, but I've seen every playoff game this year. I normally am not a huge sports guy. I love football. And that's about it. And then this year I've been getting into basketball more because I actually have a good team to root for this year.
Well, we thought we had a good team too.
Yeah.
Cavs went down.
Yeah, the Cavs. Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where, I really don't follow NBA as well, but when your local team does well, you kind of then, you'll flip it on and watch a little bit of action there.
Yep.
So it's really the only thing going on right now.
Yeah.
NHL playoffs look pretty good too as well.
Sure. Oh, they do. Yeah. Well, and Cory, I'll tell you what, if we go further, you're going to be seeing me on the show. After we won that last game, I won the second round. I went online, ordered shorts, Timberwolves shorts, shirt. So I'm fully on the bandwagon. And if we win the whole thing, you'll see me on the show, full gear, hat, shirt, shorts. I'm going to do a show with all Timberwolves gear.
Maybe the mascot. Yeah, the mascot.
Get the mascot here, the Timberwolf. I forget his name, but yeah, he's great actually.
Yeah.
So we're talking about financial planning today. Surprise, surprise. I mean, that's the basics. That's what people need out there, and that's what you help educate people on through the show, through your website, and of course, that's how you help your clients and people in our community with their financial planning. So, what is financial? Let's define it first, Cory.
Well, really what we're talking about with the financial, obviously we're talking about the financial side, but really the one thing that it's going to be able to do for you is be able to create short-term and long-term goals, right?
Right.
And as you kind of go through that process, Tony, we're going to be able to look at your current financial situation, right? We're going to be able to set objectives, create a strategy. And here's the nice part about it more than anything else is now we can hold each other accountable to make sure that you are meeting those financial objectives.
Yeah, that's accountability, goals first, and then accountability, and that's what you provide, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why you have, quarterly or biannual or annual meetings just to make sure that you're still on track to get to where you ultimately want to, right? There's different reasons why you should do financial planning too. When you really look at it, the first thing you want to do is you want to set goals, right? You might, depending on your age, it might be you want to buy a house, or maybe you want to pay for college education, or maybe you're in the situation where you want to be able to retire, build that retirement plan, or so you can retire comfortably. So, and those goals kind of change as you kind of go through life, right? And when you're working with an advisor, we're going to be able to make sure that you're on track to buy that house or pay for that college or retire the day that you really truly want to retire. And, if you have a financial plan as you kind of go through this, one of the things I think people are always a little bit weary about is they're kind of scared, right? And sometimes they don't want to come in and meet with an advisor because they think they might end up getting bad news, right?
Right.
The other part of it is money causes stress. And I think by putting a plan in place and having a blueprint on how you're going to get to certain things, achieve certain goals, it's going to be able to reduce, that stress. You're going to be able to sleep better at night. It's a peace of mind. And that's really what a financial plan really can truly do for you.
Yeah. Well, and it is so important. And you're right. Finance is the number one cause of stress, money issues, financial issues. People stress about this, especially as you get closer to retirement or in retirement. And it is the number one cause of stress amongst couples. Every survey and study shows that. So you need a plan, you need to set goals, and you need to work with a financial advisor like yourself, Cory. So let's talk some more about actual financial planning. What are some of the key components that what can we expect? What do we need to be addressing in a financial plan?
Well, Tony, if you have goals, financial goals, whether you're trying to save for whatever you're trying to be able to save for, right? The first thing you have to kind of get a good grip of is where's all my money going on a monthly basis, right?
Right.
And obviously that's the word that a lot of people don't like to hear, but it's a budget.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be able to see where your money's going, be able to create a budget, and be able to manage that to be able to make sure that you're doing the right things in order to get to your objectives. So budgeting and expense management is really crucial, and that's kind of the thing that you really need to be able to put in place. And by going through our process, we're going to sit down and we have some sheets you fill out where we can kind of get into the details of where your actual money's going. But I think a lot of people would be amazed on how you can maybe save a little bit extra money every month to be able to go into the direction that you wanted it to go into, whether it's saving again for education, buy that house, or whether it's for retirement.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And so allocation is important, and having a budget is the start for that, or a spending plan. If you don't like the word budget, a lot of people don't. You have to be able to track where your money's going and control your spending that way. That's a huge step. My wife and I do that, Cory. You've always encouraged it. And once we started doing sitting down and looking at where we're at, just okay, how much are we spending eating out? How much are we spending on this? When you look at it, it's going to help you. And knowing where you're at is a huge sense of relief. You can go to bed at night and sleep well, knowing that, hey, that we're going to make it. This is good. We know where everything's at, right?
That's exactly right. And if you have a budget and you're managing your expenses, Tony, then one of the things that you're going to save for is an emergency fund, right?
Yep.
Things pop up. Believe me.
Yeah.
If you have your own house, I think everyone that understands how things happen. Your washer dryer goes out, your dishwasher, your refrigerator. And one of the things that you want to be able to do is be able to activate those funds that you have in your emergency fund. That's exactly why it's there. You could lose your job tomorrow. So you want to be able to make sure that you have, I'd at least say 6 months, of whatever your monthly budget is in a savings or an emergency fund. So you don't have that added stress that, hey, I don't have a job, but I can't pay my bills. So it's so important. And the other part of this, Tony, if you have a budget, you're spending the right way, you have an emergency fund, and then ultimately you're not going to see your debt go up. Debt management's huge. If you don't have an emergency fund, what are you going to do? You're probably going to put it on a credit card. Well, are you going to be able to pay that credit card off the end of the month? Probably not. Now, next thing you know, you have credit card debt paying over 20% in interest, and you can just never get caught up. Right. So by having a budget, you're going to be able to spend within your means, have an emergency fund, and you're going to be able to manage your debt. And that's huge.
Yeah. Emergency funds are so important. It's another thing that my wife and I never had, but we've been slowly building it. We're not quite to the 6 months to a year's worth of income in there that we're going to need, but we're slowly building it. And you got to get a start on it. I don't care if you're at zero or you have, tens of thousands of dollars in there, keep working at it. You need that emergency fund, don't you?
You do need that emergency fund. And so let's look at it this way, Tony. If you're managing your debt, you have a budget, right? Now you can actually make sure that you're investing the dollar amount that you truly want.
Sure.
Right? So now when we start talking about investing, now what we're going to be able to talk about is, how we're going to invest that for you, where we're going to invest that, what is your risk level? We're going to make sure that you're within your risk parameters or whatever your risk level is, whether you're balanced or whether you're aggressive, depends on age. And there's a lot of components that kind of go into that. But that's really what we do when we sit down and work with you. That's where we find out on what's the best way or strategy in order to invest those funds.
Right. And that strategy is what I wouldn't want to try to do it on my own. You need to work with a trusted financial services professional, somebody like yourself, Cory. And I think that's the important part.
And there's a lot of people that, believe me, have come through Safe Harbor. We have discussions, right? And there's so many times that you hear, well, I worked with other advisors and it didn't work. It didn't do well. I lost money, whatever issue you might have with advisors. But here's what I would probably say. There's an advisor out there for you. And it's really your job to figure out who you actually work well with. Hopefully it's going to be with Safe Harbor. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to find somebody that's going to be able to, somebody that you trust, that you're going to be able to feel comfortable investing money in, because ultimately what you want to be able to do is have a comfortable retirement.
Yeah.
And believe me, there's a lot of do-it-yourself people out there.
Yeah.
But usually do it yourself, at some point in time, you no longer want to do it.
Right.
right? And
Right.
that might,
Or you're going to make a costly mistake because
that's
you
right.
don't know what you don't know. Right.
That's exactly right. So whether you don't want to do it now when you're 50 or you're 60, or hey, I'm retired, now I want to look for it. I'm just telling you, they don't want to keep up with all that type of stuff because you don't want to be doing it yourself in retirement, because you want to enjoy retirement. You don't have to go in there and look at your finances on a daily basis or monthly basis or a weekly basis to be able to make sure that you're going to have the retirement that you want.
Yeah.
The big difference between a do-it-yourselfer and a lot of times with an advisor is we have a lot of other tools and we have resources in order to make sure that we're putting together plans.
Right. Plus, you take the emotion out of it. You're going to look at the actual facts, their goals, their time horizon, and base a plan on them personally. And when it comes to the investing, Cory, what I love about you and the investment folks you work with, you have a direct line to the president of Gradient Investments and can get their senior portfolio manager on the phone and put them on with your clients, and it's actively managed. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, every study shows, the studies show over 90% of individual investors end up buying high and selling low when it comes to the stock market.
Well,
And
yeah, it's because you let too many people let emotions get into it.
Yeah,
and that's why if you have a plan, you're going to stick to the plan.
right.
Now, does that mean we modify it? Sure, we can modify the
Oh
plan.
yeah, you can make
or
adjustments.
modify the investments.
Yeah.
But when we make financial decisions for our clients on the way we invest their funds, I'm doing that based upon how I think we can make the most amount of money for our clients. I'm not doing anything when the market drops 15%. I'm not making an emotional decision because now I want to get out of the market.
Right.
Right. It's not, timing. You can't time the market.
Right.
It's the amount of time that you're in the market where you're actually going to see the results.
Right. You can't chase returns or time the market.
No.
That's where you get into trouble. People chase returns, and you need an overall solid plan that's a big picture plan that's going to get you through in your working years, through your working years, and through retirement, 25, 30 years of retirement, and make sure that there's money there for your loved ones as well if you have a spouse. So that's the plan you need in place. The market's going to go up and down. You've got a plan. You stick to it. You're going to have the income. You've got some growth in there. You're going to be good.
That's exactly right. And, part of, whether you want to call it a financial plan or a retirement plan or a blueprint, whatever name you want to be able to call it. But at the end of the day, you have a physical piece of paper or electronic where you can actually see this is what I'm projected to do year by year. But it's truly we provide all our clients with a plan, and it's something that they can actually look at night. Again, we can always modify it, but again, if you're a do-it-yourself person out there, meet with an advisor, meet with us. We're going to be able to show you what we can actually do for you. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to be able to see the benefits of that in order to have the secure retirement that you truly want.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So, manage your expenses, know what you are spending, have an emergency fund, have a plan for investing, work with a financial professional. What else? What's another key component of financial planning?
I think the other part of it, Tony, is one of the things we look at is what type of insurance needs do you need, right?
Yeah.
I think that's key. The younger you are, the more you need to probably have, because you want to take care of your family if something unexpectedly happens to you.
Right.
If you have your own business, you might want some type of disability insurance. You might go in a situation where maybe you can't work, but now you need health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you look at what we do is I handle the financial standpoint. We have a healthcare specialist in here. You have access. We'll get into this too next, but we have access to an attorney for estate planning. It's so important to put down exactly how you want things to go.
Yep.
Too many people wait, I'm going to do it when I retire. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you want to make sure that you have a will, or do you need a trust? Have your financial healthcare power of attorneys in place. Make sure all your assets are set up to avoid probate. There's so many clients that have come in, and some of our listeners and viewers out there might notice this too. I've went through probate for my parents, and it was a nightmare, right? And a lot of times when I sit down with clients, they go, I don't want my kids to experience this. So put it in place. The nice part about an estate plan is you can change it.
Yep.
Right? But if something happens tomorrow, it's going to go the way that you truly want it to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Estate planning is a big part of it. We talk about enhanced planning, having a plan in place. And I love how, Cory, you're not just focused on just investments. You look at the big picture, and you talk about emergency funds. We've talked about Social Security on past shows, and obviously tax planning plays a part in this too, doesn't it?
Well, you can't talk retirement, or you really can't talk about anything anymore without tax planning, right?
Yeah, if you're talking about money or finance, taxes are one of the biggest components, because it's going to be the biggest expense most people have in retirement, even though they feel, well, I'm not going to be working anymore, I don't need to worry about taxes, right?
Right. I mean, really what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to pay the government the least amount that you possibly will over your lifetime.
Right.
And you need to have a plan in order to be able to make sure that happens, right?
Yep.
It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And that's why we want to be able to sit down with clients and prospects to be able to see what kind of tax plan do you have. And most people don't have any tax plan at all.
Right.
The only thing they do every year is they gather all their documents and they give it to their CPA, or they, use, TurboTax or something to do their taxes. That's
Right.
not tax planning.
No, it's
Tax planning is how am I going to pay the least amount over my lifetime to Uncle Sam?
Yep.
The more, really what you should be doing is, again, you want to, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And that's really what we're really trying to do when we start talking about tax planning.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And in retirement, it's not even necessarily about the total amount of money you have. It's when do you need to access it, and how do you have it allocated? That's what's going to get you there, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to end today's show, Tony, we're just talking about what our process is.
Okay.
A lot of people are afraid to come in and meet with an advisor because they're afraid to find out exactly what's going to happen. But the way I look at it is you don't know what you don't know. You might be in a better situation. Maybe you have to do a little bit more investing. But when you go through the process, you're going to be crystal clear on what has to happen in order for you to retire the day that you want to retire. The first meeting with us is to gather the information, learn about you, learn about your goals, what your objectives are, and then we're going to put together a strategy where we're going to then present that back to you in that second meeting. And that's really what the financial plan is. We're going to review your current investments. We're going to show you what Social Security can do. We're going to have an income plan. We're going to show you how you're allocated today and really what we recommend to be allocated. And then we can get in all the different types of investment portfolios that we perform. But that's what you're going to be able to get in that second meeting. And we don't expect you to say, hey, let's move forward. We want you to go home, think about that. We meet on the third time, and then we can either modify it, move forward, or we can just answer questions or whatever you want to do. When you're comfortable, then we can talk about on how we're actually going to implement that plan for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there you go. And you've helped so many people. I'm only going to go through retirement once. My wife and you do this every day.
Right.
This is where you come in. You're the specialist. I think our listeners should pick up the phone, give you a call. How can they reach you, Cory?
Yep. So for our listeners and viewers out there, give us a call at 614-760-0670. You can always visit our website at safeharboroh.com. And just remember, when you schedule a meeting with us, the meeting's complimentary. There's no financial obligation. We really have to prove to you to build that trust for you to believe in that plan before you want to be able to implement it. So we're here to help you, have the best retirement that you can, to have that, really a secure retirement. And we have a process. Everyone's situation is different. That's why we customize it based upon your unique needs.
Yeah, there you go. Well, great show today, Cory. Listeners, that does it for today's episode of Financially Fit Radio with our host, Cory Sickles.
Thank you for joining us for Financially Fit Radio. Don't head into retirement without a strategy that addresses both income and taxes. For more information, please contact Cory Sickles at Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors at 614-760-0670 or visit safeharboroh.com now. Join us again soon for another episode of Financially Fit Radio.
Investment advisory services are offered by Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Investment Advisor. Insurance products and services are offered through Safe Harbor Retirement Group, LLC, an affiliated company. Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors, LLC, and Safe Harbor Retirement Group, LLC, are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any government agency. All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.